Hey, we're here for another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files with a very special guest. We have Riki Rachtman, and you're going to remember him from back in the day, Headbangers Ball. And Ricky's joining us today to talk about a new venture that he started up. And Riki, fill us in, please.
Well, and thank you for having me. Very reminiscent, sort of reminiscent of the Headbangers Ball in the premise of that it's on Saturday nights and that I'm playing heavy videos and I have bands on as guests. But the difference is I pick every video, I pick the guests, I do all sorts of stupid segments in between and just goof around and have fun and play some killer bands. And it's every Saturday night on the Gimme Metal app, and it's free to watch. And we did one episode so far. The new episode is, we've got 4 more episodes every Saturday at 9 o'clock Eastern. The show's huge worldwide, which really blew me away that there were so many people watching it overseas. And it's just doing really good. And it's really fun because I'm very proud of the show, because unlike Headbangers, I didn't have that much say in Headbangers. And this show, I have all to say I want. Pretty much. If there's a video that we don't play, it's only because I couldn't get permission to play it. So
I see.
I'm very picky on the shows, on the videos that I play on the show.
Well, I was gonna say that I watched like kind of like the clip that was on, I guess, YouTube or whatever. I don't know, Liz sent it to me, but I thought it was cool because you started off kind of with how usually the Headbangers Ball would end. If you're lucky, you'd get like kind of a thrashy or something that was kind of more my flavor, because obviously it was heavily hair metal, especially at that time when it was like super commercial hair metal,
The ball isn't. This show is not.
Yeah, but
it's not. That's the one thing. It's like everybody, when they said like, people are stupid. Okay. These days people will want to complain without even knowing anything. And it's like when Blabbermouth wrote something about me doing a show, the reviews when the show never aired was like, oh, it's going to be a bunch of hair metals and guys that look like girls. And I just sat there and was like, you know what? Go right ahead and think that. And it was not. And the show got phenomenal reviews, and the people that are going to hate, go right ahead. You're going to miss it. But I will tell you this, on the next show 3, I am going to play a Faster Pussycat video that was never seen because I want to. But it's still like, I'm still playing, Obituary and Carcass and Black Dahlia Murders and all these bands, but I got to play some new stuff too. It can't be, as much as I love death metal and a lot of the bands that are screaming and a lot of thrash bands, I still got to throw it back to play something from an older band as well. But there won't be any soft stuff, there won't be any ballads. And if
any Nelson,
what
any Nelson,
I don't believe Nelson was ever played on the Headbangers.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
So no, I wouldn't be playing any Nelson.
Yeah.
And there won't be any soft bands. There's nothing soft about the ball at all. I mean, I've had 3 guests on the show: Death Angel, Code Orange, and Exodus. Okay.
Excellent.
So for people that want to sit there and say it's going to be this show where it's going to be one, go right ahead. Truly, I don't really care what anybody says that hasn't seen the show. I think the show's great. I'm completely proud of it. I love getting turned on to new bands, and I love showcasing the old. My whole idea of the show is like honor the old and embrace the new.
Well,
there's a lot of great new bands out there, and there's a lot of old bands that people should see. There's kids that don't know about Exodus. So if I can turn these kids on to Exodus, that's great.
I agree.
And I think it's a good thing. I think people, at that time, I think a lot of people didn't realize or just didn't think about, like, well, you're on MTV. They're not going to give you total control over what the play is. It's too big of a mark. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that at the time. So you kind of got that, a rap that wasn't really representing you. You were just doing a job as a kind of a VJ, I guess it was. And I think people don't really realize that. They sometimes, it's good that they connect with the Headbangers Ball. It's a good thing. It was a great thing for metal. Even if a lot of the stuff wasn't my cup of tea at the time, it was still good because it's gateway music for people to get into heavier stuff anyway. And that's an important aspect for anything metal,
But that being said, that's not to say that I don't like some of those bands. I mean,
Yeah.
I still think I love Guns N' Roses. I love LA Guns. I love Faster Pussycat. I love all those bands. And
Mhm.
I'll probably at one point bring in a video.
Well,
And there's nothing wrong, but there's certain bands that I might really love that I don't believe belong on the ball. This isn't the Headbangers Ball. This is the ball. This is a place where we play heavy videos. Does that mean that I think there's something wrong with Skid Row? No, there isn't. It's just that
Mhm.
this is the ball, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah.
you
What
don't go to
are
McDonald's and say, why aren't you making sushi?
I
That
got
has
a question for you, Ricky, because we're talking about the newer bands and stuff. What are some of the newer bands, or even some of the older bands that have put out some releases that you're kind of passionate about within the last, year or two?
I really like Spirit Box a lot. That
Okay.
band, that band is that band blows me away. I really like that band. I mean, Power Trip isn't that new.
No, but
I
they were
love
great. They were
I
great.
love I love the latest Lamb of God record a real lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I mean, some of the bands that I think are new, like I like the new Every Time I Die a lot. But some people
Mm-hmm.
might say that they like, I can say like, oh, I love new stuff like Municipal Waste, which isn't new, but I've only gotten into them in the past couple of years, I have to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So,
sure,
but
sure.
there's a lot of stuff. You just go out there and, it's really fun because, the mornings I'm sitting there and me and my girlfriend are drinking coffee and we're just sifting through all this new stuff. Bam, 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 bam.
Nice.
Like looking at this and she's like, oh, have you seen this video from, Crypta, which is this
Yeah,
all girl death metal band from Brazil. And I'm
I'm
like,
familiar. I'm familiar. I'm wearing a
I
Nervosa
wasn't,
shirt. So
huh?
Nervosa is still the crypt that she left.
Crypta and Nervosa are
And
like
the
related
Crypta,
bands. Some of the
and
ex-members.
Nervosa is the other band. So check out Nervosa,
I
please. If you
absolutely will. And the thing is, I am not sitting here, I know what's going to happen. This show, first of all, is going to be huge. And I know what's going to happen. People are going to say something like, oh, Ricky's playing the heavier stuff because it's trendy now. First of all, I have to say one thing. It's not trendy now, okay? I would
No,
have I
trust
would
me.
have so many more people watching it if I stuck with the old 80s rock bands. It would be
Mhm.
way bigger. This is not about that. And am I going to tell you that I'm an expert in a lot of these screaming bands? I'm the first one to tell you I am not. But I'm becoming a fan of them. And I'm the first one to say, like, yeah, there's a lot of heavy bands that I've been into before anybody else. But there's also bands that I like Crypta.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. I'm the first one to tell you, and I'm not going to tell you that I'm an expert. But I just saw this video and I'm like, holy fuck. And if there's like a couple people that say, oh, you're not even into that band, that okay, well, guess what? I'm bringing them to the masses because I think they deserve it. So
I
it's
can
like
totally, yeah, I can
the
totally relate with what you're saying because I started this show. I own a record store in Middletown, New York for 35 years, Rock Fantasy. And I'm discovering new bands because I'm getting sent some interviews from labels and really, the same thing that you're saying right now. I echo that. I'm finding out some bands that I didn't really know that much about, but we sit down and talk with them and you really become fans of the music and the, great,
and it's
great,
fun. I mean, I love at this stage of the game, which I'm lucky enough to say that I saw some of the biggest hard rock bands ever play my club in front of 80 people. I'm very, very lucky in that way. But I'm also get the same sort of excitement when I get turned on to a new band. And if I could say, back 5 years ago, maybe I didn't take Amon Amarth seriously, and I kind of thought it was kind of funny. And then when I went to the show, I still think it's kind of I think it's kind of funny, but I really like it. Like I
I
really
love it.
have fun. Like
Entertaining show.
when you see a guy slaying a fucking dragon on stage, I don't care what you say. Okay, you're just like, look, maybe Iron Maiden might have come up, and I love Iron Maiden, might have come up and done stuff with like a thing, or Dio had a dragon, or something. But I mean, these guys are. It's just like I have the same feeling I did when I was a kid, when I think maybe when I first got into Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, and I was just like, oh, this is so great, this is evil, and I love it. And the thing on Headbangers, occasionally if there was a video that I really liked, I'd say, I love this band. And people would be like, oh, you like all these bands. Well, it's because when I was in a position, when there was a video that I really liked, I got excited about it. And it didn't matter if it was something that sounded like Rod Stewart, like the Choir Boys, or if it was Suicidal. If I liked it, I said it. If that kind of stuff bugged you, you're going to really hate the ball, because I get excited about almost every video because I handpicked every single video. So I'm just telling you, if there's a video on the ball, I like it. And I'm trying to play different stuff too, you know, like the singer of Striper, Michael Sweet, has a new song with Tracy Guns. So when that came across my desk, I was like, no, you know, and I'm like, okay, that's old Ricky. Let me listen to this. I'm like, this is kind of good. And then I watched the video and I'm like, I'm playing this on the ball, you know, like I'm juggling right now with New Ghostmain. Do I play New Ghostmain on the ball? I'm like, well, it's my show. Yeah, I'm going to, you know, it's like, I wanted to branch out a little bit and play different types of genres of heavy music. And I'm trying not to say it's death metal or it's metal, because I mean, you know, the reason I never say that the ball is a heavy metal show is there was already a show called That Metal Show, and that was great. But I'm just telling you, the music that I play on this show is nothing like that show. So if that was the metal show and that was what a heavy metal music show is, okay, well, this is the ball and this isn't anything like that. And that's not to put down any other show or any other DJ or anybody promoting hard rock is good in my book.
That sounds very honorable for sure. I mean, you're just doing what do what you want to do, the videos you want to play. And yeah, I mean, it's great to be excited about. I mean, who cares? You know, I mean, it's great if you love music, you know, it's great to express the passion for it, because music touches people in different ways, and people aren't just one dimensional anyway. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to like.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I did want to ask you a couple of older stories, if you don't mind. I mean, the Cathouse that used to do just like a 1 day a week kind of thing. Is that what it was there? Because I mean, I wasn't there around that time. But can you tell me a little bit about that?
This is the way I can sum it up easily. The Cathouse was the greatest rock and roll club in rock and roll history, and it was the most decadent, trashy, sleazy. The things that made the Cathouse truly world famous don't always have to do with the bands that played there, which every band played there, from, you know, here's Alice Cooper in a Cathouse shirt to Guns N' Roses, Motorhead, Megadeth, Primus. I mean, you know, it was opened by me and the singer Faster Pussycat, Tammy Down. We opened it in the premise of getting free drinks and meeting strippers. That's honestly the way we did it. Awesome. We didn't think it would have turned out to be something else. But the truth is, right now, I'm sitting in an office that all I do here is Cathouse business, and we sell Cathouse apparel. And right next to it is another office that's selling Cathouse stuff. So the Cathouse brand has never been stronger. And I did a podcast called the Cathouse Hollywood Podcast that I haven't put out for a while, but it goes into great detail some of the stories of things that happened at that club that were legendary. And I don't mean to sound cocky when I say, you know, it was the greatest club and we had the greatest stories, but it's true. We really did, you know. So I was very lucky. It was right place, right time. You know, it was a big part of the whole LA scene.
Because it started around what, 86?
86, September 23rd, 1986.
And did it just blow up like immediately, or no? It was okay.
Because it was opened up as a rock and roll dance club, that it was a DJ playing rock and roll. There were no bands for a long time. I didn't want bands. I just wanted a DJ to play rock and roll. We had DJ Joseph Brooks, I'm like, dude, just play rock and roll. And it was great. I mean, I remember like in our first weeks, like there were like 40 people there, and Axl dancing on the dance floor, and he would just go out there and he would just dance by himself, and like girls would go dance with him, like, hey, look at me, Axl, and he'd be on his own trip just dancing. And then you know, Guns N' Roses wanted to do a record release party for their live EP, and then they played, and then Faster Pussycat wanted to do it, and then I started letting bands play, but unannounced. You know, Megadeth went under the name Vic and the Rattleheads. We had Alice in Chains with Pearl Jam open up for them. You know, and every band, it's sort of like the same way it is with the ball. It's the bands they had to be approved by me before they played my club, and the same thing goes with the ball. You know, cool. So but you know, there's so many legendary stories because everybody went there, and it was really, really fun. And I didn't appreciate what I had back then. You know, I was just like, I'm just this kid getting all this stuff, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, wow, I'm making money. You know, I'm making money doing this. So it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. And how long did the House last for?
Probably around, I know I did a 5th anniversary party, so I would say probably about 6 or 7 years. We did like a couple like 5-city tours to take it on the road. And you know, then there was like, I did a Cathouse 20th anniversary. I did a Cathouse 30th anniversary. No, yes, I did. I did the Cathouse 30th anniversary, and that was just great. And you know, this year would be the 35th anniversary. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I might. I don't know. You know, but it's just, it's cool. It's very, very flattering that it was such a big part. Now, you know, you'll look and like, oh look, there's Robin Zander wearing Cathouse shirt. There's Tom Morello and John Five and all these people wearing Cathouse shirts, which is just really, really cool.
An iconic brand.
Yeah.
Iconic brand, yes, for sure. More on the ball. Now, can you find the ball? Like, if we wanted to watch last week's episode, can you find that somewhere and rewatch it, or
Nope.
is it something that's
Nope.
just once and
Yeah, it's a
done?
one-time thing, right, or something
It's a
like that?
one-time thing, which
Okay.
when I met with the people from Gimme Metal, at first I was like, no, but people aren't like that. And then I was like, wait a minute. People used to gather around Saturday night at midnight and watch a Headbangers Ball.
True.
And if you can watch it at any time, if all of a sudden there's a video that you're not necessarily into, you just hit a button and then you fast forward through the video, and then you might miss
Yes.
something else. It's like, you know what? This is when it's on. It's on Saturday at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's live. And not only is it live, there's a live chat room. And I'm in that chat room. So we're talking throughout the whole show, like, oh,
Excellent.
yeah, this band is really cool. Or, oh, this band, oh, when are you going to play this? Okay, I'll play that next week. And the great thing is, it's like, there's so many people that just love spewing hate on the internet. And I think we're all at a point that we're kind of, we're bored of that. We're just bored of it. So there were people from all over the world, from like this 13-year-old girl from Ireland to people in Egypt. And we're all, I'm like, I was surprised how overwhelmed I was with just like this really good feeling.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we might be doing something with Gimme Metal where we'll archive some of the old shows, but I know that the live show is Saturday at 9, and I'm very, very happy with it being like that.
Excellent.
You know, I know a lot of people are like, well, who's going to watch it on an app? Look, you put on the app. It's so easy to put on your TV. And now there's like bars that are showing it. And I was like, damn, that's so cool. And,
Yeah.
and you know, the Headbangers, I always had so many reasons. I was like, well, we should have done this. We should have done this. The Ball, I'm very proud of the show. I'm 100% behind it. So when I find out that people like it, it's like, you know, making this little thing out of clay, and you show it to people and people are like, that's awesome. And you're like, oh, thank you. You know, and that's the way I am with this show.
I do like the idea of it being on one time, because that is a problem for sure with the way things are now. You can basically just click past any videos and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, I don't know. I just remember growing up in the 80s that I used to have to, if I bought a record, I go home and listen to the thing. And even if I didn't like it at first, you listen to it over and over again.
Always. Exactly.
You try to understand it. And now it's so easy to just, pass things up. Like, it's the first second you don't like it. Okay, next video. I mean, it's not a good way, especially for the younger generation, to develop into music. I mean, you got to listen to stuff, understand it. And if you don't like it, at least understand why you don't like it, not just for like the first 10 seconds.
You're exactly right. I remember going to a record store and buying an album, and it was an album that I hadn't heard since probably 1981 or something. Now, I could have easily said, hey, Siri, oh, I better not say that. My phone will do something. I could have said, hey, play a song from blah, blah, blah. And that song would have been on my phone right away. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I haven't heard this song since like 81. I'm going to get home. I'm going to put the album on. I'm going to sit there and play the whole thing and just take it all in and say like, oh yeah, I remember when this, and I had my Mustang or this or that. And you know, to me, I take out the album, I put it on the turntable, I look at the album, I sit on the floor. I don't sit on a chair when I listen to an album. I sit on the floor and you just do it. I mean, believe it or not, the first time I ever listened to Pink Floyd The Wall, no, Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, one of the biggest selling records of all time. The first time I ever listened to that album was probably about 6 months ago. I had never listened to Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
Wow.
So I'm at a record store. I'm like, well, how do I have a vinyl collection? I don't have this. So I bought the album and I put it on. I sat and I'm like, all right, okay, I'm digging it. And we just lay it on the floor and listened to the whole album. I'm like, all right. I mean, I got to admit it. That was the first time I ever heard that album. You know, it's like, you know,
awesome.
If you have a record collection, you know, the first record that you're probably going to put, in my opinion, let's see, I'm curious your opinion. You just bought a record player. What is the first album you put on? And I wonder if it's going to be the same thing that I did.
I'll tell you what mine would be. Black Sabbath, Sabotage.
Okay.
Yeah. Crap. I don't know. Maybe Black Sabbath too, like something like Heaven Hell or something like that.
My
Motorhead, maybe.
Motorhead's my favorite band. But but the first album that I said, if I have a record player, I have to start with AC/DC Back in Black. You have to.
That's a
classic. I put the record on, and then you put the needle in, and it's like, and you're like, yes, that was it for me, you know? Then you get the Black Sabbath and everything else.
Yeah, well, both For Those About the Rock and Back in Black are two albums that were totally record time for me when I was a young kid. I remember getting those on record and listening to those, and I just have great memories of just, like you, sitting in front of that stereo, just absorbing all that heaviness and all that, kick-assness of that album.
The first metal record that I remember getting into, which was everybody talks about their gateway metal record. I think one that people don't, it was a huge record, but I don't think people give it as much credit, is Deep Purple Machine Head. Deep Purple Machine Head was just such a great record. And I remember listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is something different, you know? I hate hearing Smoke on the Water just because I've heard it so many times. For the same reason I don't like hearing Iron Man either.
Yes, I agree.
But there's still just such iconic albums, and Machine Head Deep Purple is just like, bam, bam, bam. So many great songs on that album.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when that was new, so I'm a little older than you guys. So I had the 8-track of that one back in the 70s when I was driving my souped up Plymouth Duster around, you know. And the 8-track, and then the vinyl, and then the cassette, and the CD, and then back to the vinyl, and here we are.
Cool. Well, I had one more question before letting you go myself. Is I'm just a big Motorhead Lemmy fan, so I was hoping maybe you had some great memory. I seen before he gave you the bullet with his ashes in it, which is just over the top. But is there just any other great, cool story that you might want to share with? Because our fans would be into something like that.
Well, the Lemmy bullet was like, Lemmy was it's so funny. Like, people will post videos of Headbangers Ball with me and Lemmy. And I'm like, every time I was on TV with Lemmy, he kissed me on the head. I just noticed that Lemmy always goes up and kissed me on the head. And I love Lemmy. He always treated me so great. I mean, if you see, even this is my office, and I've got all my Motorhead,
I see that,
including the just purchased all gold Lemmy Funko right there, which I don't want to say I'm a Funko guy, but I guess I am. I got mine. And last, on the 8th of May, there you go.
I got my Lemmy Super 7 guy here.
On the 8th of May, I got my Motorhead tattoo, and I'll probably get another one. And about a month ago, I got a bullet sent to me, and they called me and they said, hey, Ricky, Lemmy has there's something that Lemmy wanted you to have, and it's real special. So I open it up and I see this bullet, and I was like, oh, maybe this came from his belt or something. And it says Lemmy, and I was like, this is cool. And then Leah's reading, and she's like, that bullet has got his ashes in it. I was like,
wow.
And so that was cool. But Lemmy was, I remember I had a barbecue at my house one time, and people were getting thrown in the pool, and it was like, Lemmy had these Daisy Duke shorts on.
I've seen
cowboy
pictures of that. That's tough.
Yes. And I remember him taking this ancient, like I had this, like I went through my like Southwest decoration theme. So I had this like old Indian tomahawk, and he took it off the wall and tried to smoke pot out of it. I remember him smoking pot out. And everything else about Lemmy is just like, I mean, he played the Cathouse so many times, and he just always came through for me. And he's just a great guy. I mean, you know, you think about the singer of one of the greatest heavy bands of all time, and you ask people that knew Lemmy, and a lot of them use the word gentleman, because he was just
Yes.
the kindest. And I owe so much to Lemmy, and I love him and respect him and miss him. And you know, think about Motorhead, and probably play Motorhead almost every single day. I love Motorhead. Motorhead was like, when I was a kid, I was into punk rock. That was it. I wasn't a metalhead. I was into punk rock, and I listened to Motorhead. And then when I got older, I listened to heavy metal, and I listened to Motorhead. And now I'm older and I can listen to whatever I want, and I listen to Motorhead. You know, Motorhead is like that first record, Motorhead, that's a punk rock album. I don't care what anybody says. The song Motorhead is a punk rock song.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I'd agree. I
It's
just
punk
love
rock vibe.
Motorhead.
Awesome. So Steve,
Cool. I guess we'll have to wrap this episode up. It was an honor to have you
Thank you
on
very
the
much.
channel, and
yeah, thank you very
I look
much.
forward to checking out The Ball, your new program. It sounds exciting, and I really give you kudos for opening up the first one with Power Trip, because I got to see them a couple years ago. I believe they were opening up for Cannibal Corpse, and I was blown away by their stage performance. I said they're bringing thrash metal, and they're holding it up and bringing it along into the two.
It's a newer generation.
I never saw
generation, and it was so tragic losing Riley last year.
And I never saw that band, and I wish I did, because the reason that I played Power Trip is because, you know, when I did the first episode of The Ball, I'm like, now who's going to watch it? Is it going to be people that are in their 50s, or is it going to be people that are in their 20s or younger? I'm like, okay, well, I want to start with something thrash. So what if I start something with new that sounds like it could have been put out in 89? And that's why I picked that song from Power Trip, because it's somebody current, it's somebody that's important. And you know, I put a lot into, like, the people at Gimme Metal must just get sick of me, because I'm like, okay, do me a favor. I want to move that Rob Zombie video now before this obituary video, and then move this one. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I think like a DJ. I'm thinking like, okay, this song is this song, then break, then talk to Will from Death Angel, and then this song, then break, then play Jamie, then talk to Jamie from Code Orange. And then the next week's show, we're going to get on my motorcycle and we're going to ride to South Carolina and try the world's hottest pepper, the Carolina Reaper. And we're going to eat the pepper. And because I think that might be fun in between videos. I mean, here's my phone.
I know. Where are you located?
Most unmetal ringtone ever.
Man,
I'm in Mooresville, North Carolina. I left California about 4 years ago, and I'm in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? I'm in Greensboro, so.
Oh,
yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. And I guess you have some. I see a helmet on the table there, and I see a Richard Petty shirt. So is that some of your hobbies are racing and motorcycles and stuff?
I've been working in NASCAR for about 20 years. I now work for the American Flat Track Series. I'm starting a new line called Cathouse Racing, which we're going to be working with a couple of racers. And I've been working in motorsports. I mean, that's what I do for a living. My job, my income is motorsports. And, you know, right now I'm at a position where I get to, you know, do racing and rock and roll. And I ride motorcycles very, very far all the time.
Awesome.
And that's pretty good.
I have a personal friend that races in the NASCAR Truck Series. His name is Stuart Friesen.
A matter of fact, they paint his helmet in the office right next to me.
You're kidding. Yeah, he races the people that run his Palomar International, who sponsors his Truck Series race, runs the fairgrounds here in Middletown, Orange County Fair Speedway, and they refurbished the old dirt track, and they run the dirt track modifieds, and Stewie has won the last couple big races here in the last couple of years. They have a 200 lap modified on the dirt every October, and he has been pairing up the modified seeds. So they put him in a Truck Series race.
And he's doing well there as well.
Yeah, what a small world, isn't it?
Yes.
So, you know, fast cars, fast fucking music. and all that good shit. It all goes together in my world.
Coffee and women.
Yeah.
Yep.
And wrestling.
And pro wrestling too, yeah. We'll have to talk about that on another episode. I'm a big wrestling fan. John is not, so we hang out and talk. And you mentioned Will Carroll. He's a great friend too, and he helped us out a lot with our channel, the Rock Fantasy Files.
Will
He's
Carroll's great.
Regular on our channel, and we hope to have you back on again sometime.
Well, I'm sure we will. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate you doing the show again.
Bye, guys.
Take care.